I've started to figure out that one of my favorite pastimes is redoing my desk setup. I just get bored, I get new ideas, I want to try them out, but I think I've found something that I'm going to stick with. That's probably not going to be true, but for now, I'm loving what I have. So this is kind of a mishmash of all the products that I used to have in my previous setup and some new ones to really take it to that next level. Before I used to have it in a little closet and it worked really well. It stayed out of the way. It looked decent enough, but I felt a little confined, a little dungeony, and I really just wanted something that was more grand, more complete, and just more functional. And I think that's what I have here. The main focal point here is, of course, the desk. This one's from Autonomous, and it's actually the first standing desk that I've ever had. Autonomous reached out asking to send one out, and I couldn't say no because I've always wanted to try one, and so far I am loving it. So this is the Smart Desk 2, but what I like about it is it comes in a few different configurations. You can, of course, get the entire desk like you would for anyone. So it comes with the tabletop, the legs, it's motorized, you can sit and stand, great. But I didn't really need that. I have a tabletop that I wanted to use, one that I like. So instead, I just got the base, and you can put whatever tabletop you want on top of it. I got mine from IKEA. It's one of the standard Karlby, although instead of going the walnut finish this time, I went with the birch. I'm loving it, but that gave me the nice huge work surface and the tabletop I was looking for, but still gives me the ability to sit or stand. It's pretty easy to put together. You can adjust to multiple different sizes depending on how big your tabletop is. You plug everything in and it works. It's pretty simple. I typically use this at standing height when I'm either about to leave or just getting home. You know, I'm unpacking my bag, I'm running around the office trying to get everything ready. So it's nice to just kind of have everything at standing level. And having it motorized means I'm just actually more likely to use it. You click a button, it has 4 different programmable heights, and it lifts itself or lowers itself very quickly. So basically I click the button, stand up, move my chair out of the way, and by the time I'm doing all that, the desk is at standing height and vice versa. I like to throw my chair underneath the desk when it's at standing height, and that just keeps everything nice and clean. And it's interesting, this is actually the first time I've really worked standing up, or at least for long periods of time. Makes me feel a little bit more lively, if that makes sense. Not so much that I've never stood before, of course, but it's just a different mentality, and I'm liking it so far. Also, it's great for things like these videos. My desk is a place that I shoot a ton of clips, and sometimes my tripod is a little too short, a little too tall. Instead of adjusting that, which is always a pain, I can just move the desk up and down. And even though I have a heavy tabletop and a bunch of stuff on it, it's still very stable, it's sturdy, and I can trust it. And the standing desk I found is just more useful. Like I said, I get bored quickly, everything gets stagnant, but if I can just lift it and kind of change my routine, even if it's very simple, it helps a lot and just keeps things fresh. I never knew how much a standing desk would come in handy, but so far, I'm absolutely loving it. Now, if you take a step back and just look at the entire wall, the whole setup, there's definitely some inspiration here. And the main one is from Matthew NC, and I'll leave his video down below. But when I saw what he did, I was like, I'm just gonna straight up copy it. I love it. So what he did and what I did is I got a Besta TV unit from IKEA and used that as a shelving unit above the desk. I love having shelves. It's great for obviously storing things, but I just don't want to ever see that stuff. This lets it be all enclosed, and I have it organized so I know where everything is. Everything has a place, but I just don't have to see it all the time. Keeps everything a lot cleaner. This was a great idea. I think that with the desk gives it a more complete package. Like, it looks like an entire desk setup rather than just me throwing my desk into the corner of a room. And that's kind of what I was looking for, something that was more finished. Besides the actual pieces of furniture, which I wanted to make this, again, more complete, there was more of a system that I wanted to implement here as well to make sure I knew where everything was and that I can actually keep things clean. Like I mentioned with the shelving unit, I want something that will help keep everything clean, and most of that comes down to me. Actually, all of it does. So if you want to see what I did for all of my organization, how I actually made everything so that it works well for me, let me know and I can go into that. Now, as for all of the gear, the screen is the same one that I've been using and loving. It's a great monitor, Thunderbolt 3, great color accuracy. It's the BenQ PD27OU. You would think that finding a good Thunderbolt 3 monitor is like a dime a dozen, but there's actually not that many of them. This one though, I think is a great option. One thing that I did change though is another thing that for whatever reason I had never used before, and that's a VESA arm. So I attached that to the arm. I really love having that low profile and being able to really get up close to my monitor, and this lets me do that really well. And of course, when I have my desk at standing level, I can adjust the monitor so it's better viewable, and it fits perfectly in the little space that I have between the shelving unit and the desk when it's in standing position. So having that VESA arm has really come in handy. If you've never tried one, I definitely recommend it. I got a super cheap one. I'll link it down below, but I don't know why it took me so long to try one of these. Now that is being powered by my new 16-inch MacBook Pro. Got it in silver this time, which is great. Use that for work, and so far really liking it. Although definitely interested to see what the Apple Silicon chips are all about. And instead of going for speakers, okay, hold your breath here, I went for a HomePod. Now it's not the perfect solution, but it's clean, it sounds great, and over AirPlay 2 for all the things that I need it for, like listening to YouTube videos and stuff, it works great. And I like that I can walk in, listening something to my AirPods on my phone, I tap my phone to the HomePod and it instantly transfers all the audio over there so I can take my AirPods out. I've really been enjoying the HomePod, and even though I don't know if I could really recommend anyone buy one of these, I really enjoyed that I have it. The one issue with the HomePod is that if I'm editing in Final Cut, the sync on the audio is very bad, pretty much unusable. So that's when I use my headphones. And I've actually been using headphones a lot more. I've said in the past that I'm not a huge fan, and for the most part that's true, but I've just kind of gotten used to using them. I'm using the Bose 700s, which I think are the best pair of noise canceling headphones out there. And I think once you find a good pair of headphones, then it's a lot easier, at least for me, to just start using them. So I've kind of developed a system. If I don't want to be wearing headphones, I'm listening to audio on the HomePod. And if I'm editing, I go into headphone mode and just kind of, just block out the world around me. On the side, I have the Alex drawer unit. Mine is old, it's beat up. I really hate that it's got scratches all over it, but I'm not gonna buy a new one. So that works there, and that's kind of my iPad docking station. That's the 2020 12.9-inch iPad Pro with the Magic Keyboard. I have it charged here all the time so I can pick it up and go whenever I need to. And even though I use a laptop as my computer, I rarely actually use it as a laptop. Whenever I wanna do more mobile things, unless I specifically have to edit, the iPad Pro is what I take with me. On the right, I have hooks for my backpacks. I love backpacks. I like switching them out, so that's why I have two hooks here. One is for my Air Day Pack, which is pretty much my go-to, and the other is for an in-case backpack that I have. It really just depends on the situation. One is good for just throwing a bunch of stuff in there, and the other is more for when I feel like being organized. So I like having them both here, just, depending on the situation. I also have a pegboard. Thank you, IKEA, for providing pretty much everything for everyone. There's some little knickknacks here, like pens and stuff that I'm always just kind of searching for, so might as well put them there and not have to really ever think about it. My chair is from Herman Miller. It's called the Sail. I got this on Craigslist for about $100, even though it's typically $600 if you buy it brand new. It's great, completely recommend it. Herman Miller is an expensive company, but if you get one used, highly recommend it. You won't go wrong. This is the best chair I've ever had, and again, like with a lot of other things here, I don't know why I was using such crappy chairs before this. So those are really the main parts of this entire setup. There's a bunch of different knickknacks and accessories to kind of make that work, but what I really wanted was a system, something that was actually thought out and planned rather than just thrown together like most of my other setups are. And even though those have worked well, this one works even better. And again, there's a bunch of things that you don't see here that are all organized and put away, and if that's something you want to see, that video is coming soon. But I'm glad now I have this system with parts that I've always meant to get but never did. Now I have them, and this is by far my favorite setup ever.